Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10 and support the channel at the same time. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. Now, last weekend was GP Richmond, which of course had a large legacy event as part of it. And you're going to notice today some of those legacy cards are heating up, and a number of the Miracles cards especially are going up in value this week because that deck performed really well, coming in first and third place in that particular tournament. So we'll look at all that. Commander's also pretty hot. Standard's a little slower, obviously, as people are going to wait and see what comes out starting on Monday when the official previews of Guilds of Ravnica will kick into full gear. But quickly, before we get into all that, just a fast reminder, if you check out the description below, you'll find a few ways to help support what we do here. Our Patreon page is linked down below. You're also going to find links to products on Amazon. If you make any purchases on Amazon, once you go through that link, no matter what it is, we'll get a small percentage for the channel. Finally, Flipside Gaming still offering a promo code for our viewers. Hopefully you can save some cash while you support us. And as always, thank you not only to the folks that look at those links, but to all the viewers. Y'all make the channel what it is. I appreciate y'all. Let's get into it. We're going to start off, as we always do, with the top 5 standard legal cards that have lost value this week. Like I said, you're not going to see a whole lot of excitement in the world of Standard right now, just because everyone's going to hold on to their wallets until they see at least some of the preview cards. Many people will hold on to their wallets until they actually see some deck builds, put up some results in the first few weeks of the new Standard, so things will be slow for a little bit here. Number 5 is Karn, Scion of Urza, down 76 cents to 31.46. This card's pretty successful right now in a number of formats, but even so, it is ticking down. A lot of Dominaria has been open, and $31, $32 is still a pretty high price point for this card considering the quantities out there. However, part of the reason it is ticking down is because this past meta hasn't seen quite as much play as many people perhaps thought it would. Right now, it's still a essential part of many of the black-red mid-range decks that are successful, usually like 2 copies, something along those lines of Karn. But you don't see it in a whole lot of other places right now in Standard. It will show up here and there, but for the most part, black-red mid-range is kind of the name of the game. Post-rotation, though, the field's going to be a lot smaller of cards that are available, so there's a good chance you're going to see more Karn, and if that's the case, this will quickly stabilize, maybe even surge back up a little bit. Now, you don't want to forget about outside of Standard either. This card's very successful in Affinity decks, Hardened Scales Affinity, most recently, even if it's coming out of the board, you're still seeing usually a couple copies there. Legacy, Eldrazi decks will run this, among many others. So Karn is seeing extensive play outside of Standard. In the long term, this is going to be a healthy card, no doubt, but I do think it's going to have its ups and downs while it's in Standard. Number 4, Crucible of Worlds. This is the Magic 2019 version, down 82 cents to $18. So of course, this is a recent reprint of a very popular card. Ticks down quite a bit this week. It's a great casual card. It's an awesome upgrade, actually, if you happen to pick up the Nature's Vengeance Commander 2018 deck. I'm sure some people are thinking along those lines. Now that this is at such a low price, I would expect it to maybe stabilize quickly and start to go up a little bit, considering a lot of players will see this and just decide they're going to finally pick it up if they've been waiting. Number 3, Sarkhan Fireblood, down 94 cents to $14.95. So the biggest place this card is seeing play right now for me is Modern in those Mono Red Prison decks. I think it looks the best there. It looked okay in Standard and Dragon decks for a while, but those have started to fade away a little bit as the meta continued. Now, post-rotation, everything's up in the air again. There's a good chance that Dragon decks could surge back, especially early on, because people will kind of understand that deck. They'll already have those cards in their collection. They'll just have to remove the ones that have rotated out and find replacements. As long as they can find suitable replacements, considering we don't know yet what's in Ravnica, then, yeah, this card could see a surge. If it doesn't, though, if you don't start seeing more of this in Standard quickly in the new meta, this is going to drop very fast, I think, because I don't think the amount of play it's seeing in Modern is enough to warrant right now that $15 price tag, although it does look good in that particular deck there, at least. Number 2 is Nicol Bolas the Ravager, down $1.15 to $29.99. So this is still successful in Standard in those mid-range Grixis decks. However, a lot of those have kind of morphed into Dimir mid-range decks, and now that we're losing the Scarab God altogether, the future of those decks is very, very uncertain. So the big question is, what happens post-rotation? If Dragon decks can kind of hang in there post-rotation, then this card will probably stabilize. However, much like the last card, if it can't start putting up some big results early on in this next meta, it's going to lose a lot of value fast. So continue to watch this one. It could tick down more in the next few weeks, no doubt. Number 1 is Nexus of Fate, down $2.85 to $27. This is another card that's just in a holding pattern right now. The Turbo Fog deck is good. usually comes in like 4th place in a lot of big tournaments, so it does have a presence, but it is overshadowed by some of the big decks that have been hanging around. A lot of the aggro decks, of course, and control builds and such. So considering that, I don't think people are ready to sell off this card because they want to see what it can do in the next meta, but I don't think they're necessarily running out to buy it right now either. So this is another one of those we'll just have to kind of see what Ravnica gives us and if it makes this card better or worse. All right, let's move on to the top 5 standard legal cards that have gained value this week. Number 5, oh boy, here we go again. It's Air Elemental. This is the Magic 2019 version, which cannot be found in the regular set. Currently, you can only find this in the blue welcome deck. Up 38 cents to $1.95. Now, I say currently because the Magic Game Night product is going to have 2 copies of this exact same version of the card in there. So if you are a fan of collecting these kind of oddity cards that are sort of kind of hard to find, I don't want to say rare because they're not rare, but online they're hard to find because you don't have a lot of game stores breaking up welcome decks to sell air elementals. But if you enjoy collecting those type of things, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't let anyone tell you that there is. Play the game, enjoy the game the way you want to, but I'll tell you this, don't overpay for these cards, especially $2 when there's more coming soon. These things are going to be just pennies in a few weeks. All right, another real small gain here. As you can see, standard is very slow right now. Carnage Tyrants at number 4 going up 49 cents to $18.49. So this is a card that has seen standard play at some level ever since it came out. It's been dwindling though, especially in the last couple metas. Sometimes you'll find a copy or two in a sideboard here or there, but for the most part, you're not seeing tons of play coming out of this card currently. However, I do think green gets a lot better post-rotation. You have Llanowar Elf sticking around. A lot of the key green cards are sticking around, and I have no doubt we'll get more with Selesnya. We have the Convoke mechanic coming. Golgari could be interesting too. Who knows? So I do think that this becomes a better card post-rotation, and that's what people are already speculating on. That's why you're seeing the increase here. Number 3, oh boy, it's another one. Befuddle. Up 59 cents to $3.35. Now, this one can only be found legitimately in the blue welcome deck. So if you want this Magic 2019 version of the card, that's the only show in town. So unfortunately, there are people taking advantage of that and posting this at really high prices. Don't spend $3, $4 for this card. That's too much right now. If you do want to collect this card, give it a few weeks. People will move on to the next thing. You'll be able to get it very cheap. Number 2, Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, up $1.22 to $46.99. This card always is hot. We talk about it every single week. And much like Karn, it's also from Dominaria. It's also a mythic rare planeswalker. But the difference is Teferi just sees more play generally. A lot of decks that run Karn will run like 2 ofs. Many decks that run Teferi run 4 ofs. The control builds in standard, very popular there. The control builds in modern. Turbofog showed up a little while ago wanting 4 copies of this. That pushed the price point further. And there's always other decks experimenting with this. Currently, it's Nightfall and Modern. I see Nightfall decks running this now. Will that pan out? Time will tell, but it has pushed the price of this card even further. So I do think eventually it's going to hit its ceiling. I can't imagine this card getting much past where it is now. Maybe it gets up to $48, $50 before stabilization, but I do think stabilization is coming. I just don't think this card's going to lose tons of value anytime soon. Number 1 is Search for Azcanta, up $2.17 to $20.55. Another card that we know is very good in control builds and standard as well as modern. So why is it going up so much this week? Legacy, the Legacy Miracles deck that I mentioned at the top of the show. This is one of the cards you'll find there. All right, let's move on to the world of Modern. The top 5 Modern legal cards that have lost value this week, and Modern is really slow this week. As a matter of fact, when we get to the cards going up in value, I don't think a single one is going up because of Modern, and they're barely going up. Number 5, Gilt-Leaf Palace, though, finally gets a little bit of a snapback, going down $2.20 to $30.99. This card's been hot for about 3 or 4 weeks now. Finally, it settles down a little bit as people are realizing, wait a minute, I have a bunch of these in my closet. I'm going to go and put them online and sell them. And finally, you're seeing a little price relief. But I do think this will stabilize close to that $30 mark and maybe sit there for a little bit. Number 4, Seedborn Muse, down $2.29 to $14.37. This is the 10th edition version. Now, this card got reprinted in Battle Bond, which is why it's been soft recently. It's a little odd that this version went down this much over the course of a week, but it could be a seller maybe has a lot of these in inventory trying to get rid of them. That's probably what's going on right now. And they have been soft due to the reprint recently. Number 3, Leyline of the Void. This is the Guild Pack version, down $2.75 to $49.99. We've seen this a lot recently on our list. It spiked severely after the Pro Tour and during the Pro Tour due to the fact that Vengevine deck in Modern looked really, really good. A lot of people wanted to scramble to protect themselves against it or build the deck, which that deck also runs these in the sideboard to deal with Dredge or Mirror matchups. So the card got extremely hot. The last few weeks it's been snapping back and normalizing, and it continues to do that this week. Number 2 is Dark Confidant. This is the Modern Masters version, down $2.98 to $57.99. So we see Bob quite a bit. You probably are familiar with this story. 2 things are hurting Bob right now. The fact that he's been pretty much just pushed out of the Humans deck, number 1. Number 2, Jund has been inconsistent. It can put up good results, just not every week, week in and week out. So because of that, the card's a little soft. Now, with that being said, this card is very successful in a lot of Modern decks, but even more so right now in Legacy and Vintage. So don't expect it to bottom out or anything like that. It will go down a little more, maybe stabilize close to $55 or so. And number 1 is Engineered Explosives. 2 versions here. Fifth Dawn down $251 to $94.97. Modern Masters down $385 to $90.99. Another card that's been super hot recently and just needed some time to normalize and cool off, and that's what you're seeing here. This is still a huge part of the Ironworks combo deck, and it's a fantastic sideboard card in many Modern and Legacy builds right now. The top 5 Modern legal cards that have gained value this week. So like I was just saying, because there wasn't a major Modern tournament last weekend, things are really cool right now. Let's look at number 5. Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre. Rise of the Eldrazi goes up $1.33 to $29.87. From the Vault Legends goes up $1.36 to $29.99. Not a very big increase at all. Normally you wouldn't even see this on the list. It is moving because of Commander more than anything. This used to see more Modern play, but it's been pushed out by the Ceaseless Hunger and a lot of the decks that used to run it. Number 4, Privileged Position, up $1.90 to $26.74. So this card has been very hot recently because a lot of folks have been picking it up as an upgrade to the Adaptive Enchantment Commander 2018 deck. However, there is at least a little bit of a Modern twist in the story this week. Saffron Olive put up a Modern Worship deck running 4 copies of this, did a video and an article on it on MTG Goldfish this week. So I do think that's the reason this card has kind of heated up a little bit again. It was starting to finally cool off after a number of hot weeks, but it takes a rather large bump up this week. Number 3, Notorious Throng, up $2.08 this week to $6.20. Seems like every week people are finding another card that plays well in the Yuriko Commander decks, and this is the latest one. Now also, this is a Morningtide rare, and we know that that particular set had a lower print run comparatively, so whenever a little attention falls onto some of these rares, they do tend to get very spiky. Number 2, Counterbalance, up $2.68 to $13. So again, not moving because of Modern, but actually this time it's Legacy. This is a key part of that Miracles deck we've been talking about. And number 1, we haven't seen this guy on this list in a long time. Jace the Mind Sculptor. From the Vault 20 going up $1.51 to $89.61. Eternal Masters going up $3.68 to $89.97. This is a card that's been losing a lot of value recently, but it's a part of that Miracles deck, so it did get some good attention this week, and it's at the lowest price point it's been at in a very long time. Okay, let's move on to our Vintage Spotlight. The first couple cards we're going to look at are actually cards that saw play in the Legacy event this past weekend, and then we'll get into our regular buyouts. Again, there's a lot of unlimited buyouts going on. First, though, is a card that actually sees play. Back to Basics, up $2.61 this week to $65.74. This is not on the reserve list, but it has never been reprinted. It's a key part of the Miracles deck as well as Stoneblade decks, so it is seeing a lot of Legacy play right now. This is one to keep an eye on. Krakus is next. Eternal Masters up $1.26 to $66.49. Legends up $8.37 to $98.41. So this is in the deck that came in second place in GP Richmond, the Lands deck. However, I don't think that's really the reason the price is being driven this week. It's a great deck, but it's a very expensive deck to put together. I don't see a lot of people buying into it just out of nowhere. Death and Taxes, however, is a very good deck that also runs this card. And even though it didn't top 8 GP Richmond, it's been very popular. If for no other reason, it's one of the more affordable Legacy decks that is still competitive. I think that's why the price is jumping on this particular card this week. Next is our first unlimited card. It's Kudzu, up $12 to $29.99. I wouldn't really consider this a buyout necessarily. I just think these unlimited cards are being traded and sold faster now due to the fact that stores are focusing on those more so than alpha and beta cards. 93, 94 players still can use those unlimited cards, so there is a market there, and also collectors are still interested because the print runs are low enough. Once you start getting into the revised, the print runs do go up aggressively, and there's still some amazing revised cards, don't get me wrong, the Dual Lands, Wheel of Fortune, amongst some others, but with the higher print runs, it's not going to lead to Kudzu jumping anytime soon, where unlimited, you will still see increases like this. So, put it all together, unlimited cards still remain really hot. Elder Spawn. Now, this is a reserve list card from Legends, and that's most likely why it's going up this week, of $15.10 to $29. Not a huge increase. I wouldn't necessarily call it a buyout again, but maybe somebody picked up a cheap copy or two, pushing the price point up a little bit higher on the marketplace. Jam Daytone from Unlimited up $25.85 to $87.25. Another one of those cards from Unlimited that's not on the reserve list, has been reprinted. There's cheaper copies out there, but the Unlimited one goes up quite a bit this week. And the last one in this section, Mahamodi Jin up $52.42 to $71.25. Same story here, although this is more aggressive and maybe is a buyout. Okay, let's move on to the Commander Spotlight. Rings of Brighthearth up $1.05 to $36.24. Great upgrade for the recent Commander 2018 deck, Exquisite Invention. However, this is great in almost every Commander deck if you can afford to pick one up. Oracle Moldiah up $1.11 to $34.39. Another card that's been hot recently because of Commander 2018. This time it's the Nature's Vengeance deck, but this is still just another solid card generally. Mycosynth Lattice up $1.16 to $15.67. This is the Darksteel version. Now, this got reprinted in Battle Bond as a Mythic not too long ago, and when that happened, this card got a little bit soft, but it is an awesome card in so many different Commander decks. It combos with a lot of things. Of course, a great upgrade for Exquisite Invention, but I think the main reason this has been going up recently is simply because the price point was subdued by the reprint, and now people are starting to jump back on it again. Bladesteel Colossus. Now, this does see some vintage play, too. This is going up $1.18 to $42.52. I do think the motivating factor, though, is Commander. Another good upgrade for Exquisite Invention, which has a lot of ways to get big mana, but not a lot of amazing payoffs. This is an awesome payoff in that deck. Phyrexian Altar, up $2.91 to $59.60. A lot of Commander players would love to see this reprinted, but this is a card that is showing up in, well, a number of Commander decks, but most recently, the Varina Lich Queen decks have been using this, and Varina, of course, was in the Subjective Reality Commander 2018 deck. She felt kind of out of place there, being sort of a zombie commander, but a lot of folks, of course, pull her out of that deck or buy the single and just build zombies around her, and now they're trying to pick up this card too. Field of Dreams from Legends. This is a reserve list card. It's up $4.50 to $169. Now, maybe it's just going up because it's a reserve list Legends card. That's entirely possible, but I threw it on the list because it actually is a good upgrade for Subjective Reality, and it's one we haven't talked about yet. So here it is. Maybe it's going up because someone decided they wanted the upgrade, but maybe it's just going up because it's a hard to find card. And our last card, Darksteel Forge, and this is the Plane Chase version of $5.49 to $20.49. So the other versions of this card really aren't moving all that much. It's just this one, and this one is kind of harder to find. There's probably just not as many of these online, and that's why you're seeing the inflated price point a little bit. So don't think this card's necessarily jumping because of gameplay this particular week. It's more because of a weird market anomaly than anything. With that being said, though, this is an awesome card again in Commander Artifact builds, especially the Exquisite Invention deck. If you don't have a copy, you might want to grab one. Maybe you don't grab this one. You can find cheaper ones. All right, with that being said, that is the Market Watch for this week. Now, we'll be back next week where I assume we're going to start seeing a little bit of action in the world of Standard because all week we're going to get previews from Guilds of Ravnica. We'll be following, recapping, reviewing those previews as they come out all week, so stay tuned to the channel for that. But until next time, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible by the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.